Alrighty, well, good morning, my friends. It is Tuesday, February 25th of 2025. I was not here yesterday, so we did not have a broadcast or a video that was sent out. But I do want to come in and talk about last week on, I want to say Friday of last week, and then look at some interesting stuff that happened yesterday as well. So the main thing that I want to show you guys, and this has kind of been a repetitive theme here for the last week or two, at least in these videos I've been releasing, is anticipating major market rotations. And so on February 21st, this is going back to Friday of last week, for those who were in the pre-market broadcast, you guys should remember we talked about seeing the clues for the bears off of this little overnight high that we were looking at. And I mentioned to you guys that there were some clues for that there could be a pretty decent pullback coming into the open. And I quite literally said that. I believe we can go back to the recordings and see we talked about seeing that just before the market was opening here, as it was beginning a little bit of a pullback. And then sure enough, for the rest of the day, it just sold off. So I want to show you what I saw in my charts before the market opened on Friday of last week that alerted me to a pretty significant, or a potential for a pretty significant pullback. I did go through this in some of the previous videos that we released, talking about seeing a confluence between some really key time frames. So first of all, I want to bring up kind of the time frames that I look at, and then we'll look for the signals that I saw going into Friday of last week. So I like looking at a confluence between my hourly time frame, my 30-minute time frame, my 15-minute time frame, and my 3-minute time frame. So when all 3 or 4 of those line up, that's typically the beginning, or there's potential at least, for the beginning of a major rotation in the market. And sometimes it starts to build up and it shows clues. Then it keeps going a little more, keeps showing the clues, keeps going a little bit more, and then it eventually goes where you expect it. So it doesn't always have to just kind of line up and then just go. Sometimes things line up and then they keep pushing one way or the other before it actually follows through. So let's look at February 21st here, coming into the open. And one of the shorter time frames here on the 3-minute is kind of how I'm trading and finding setups for my entries. So when my 3-minute is lining up with that 512, I can get some pretty sweet rotations in the market. So coming into Friday of last week, this is what the charts looked at before the whole thing dropped out on the 3-minute. So we were inching up. You can see all the resistance off the roadmap level around 37.75. Then they get back up through it and they start to trade up above it there and use it as support. And then right here is quite literally just before the market opened. All right, so we see in the 3-minute, yes, 3-minute is short time frame. There's a lot of conflicting signals, but on the 3-minute here, we did have some bearishness up off the highs. Right, it wasn't an ambivalent type of thing. There definitely were some divergent setups. You could even see just before the market open here, within a minute or two before the open, that little swing high there had a big divergence, parried right off that 60 line, and then that was quite literally the beginning of the end for the bulls. So our 3-minute hinted to some bearishness just before the market opened, but more importantly, for the larger rotations, what I was seeing, and I do have another screen where I have my 15-minute and my 30-minute sitting right next to each other, so it does kind of look like the 3-minute and 15-minute here. And it gives me a perspective on, again, the potential for some larger rotations. Or if I see something lining up with my 3-minute, again, it just bolsters my confidence to jump into the trade. So let's go back on the 15-minute now to the 21st. And you can see it real clearly here. There's the big sell-off. And then here is, again, just like on the 3-minute we were just looking at, just before the market opened, quite literally right there. Right, there's the 9:30 candle that closed at 9:30. So as we're inching up right into the open here, what pattern do we have up off these highs? We have all these pushes to new highs in price, and the RVI was pushing lower. So we had the 15-minute hinting in, and then right when the market opened, right at 9:30, it had broken the lows of these candles, and then you could see that beautiful hook in the market, right? And there's the big divergence, very clear. And then on the 30-minute, again, I'm watching this in real time, so I can see there's the push to the new high, there's the divergence on the 15, and then we come down or up to the 30-minute here, and again, as the market's pushing up to the highs of the overnight session just before the market opened there's that candle that closed at 9:30. What do you have? You have the push to the new high, the push to the lower high. And then the icing on the cake, which again, I don't need, really I just want my 30, 15, and 3 to line up for confidence in a move. But my 60-minute, just to add some beautiful icing to the cake, right off of that swing high there, just before the market opened. So this is how my 60-minute chart looked. Just before the market opened, I had this peak up to that new high we were just looking at, and my RVI was way down here. So I warned you guys, the market was just about to open. I said, guys, we do have some clues for a bounce here. We did get the bounce from yesterday's low, Thursday's low, and started to come out. But we are starting to get our first signs for a potential pullback, given that my 60-minute, my 30-minute, and my 15-minute look like this. And then again, right, the market opens at 9:30. We pull back around into that hopeful area, and then within seconds, the market just starts selling off. So we warned you guys. That's kind of how I anticipated that rotation and had some pretty good confidence that that was what was going to happen there. The issue, and I think I told you guys in the room, was, yeah, we do expect this pullback coming into the open. The question is going to be, how far is that pullback going to get? And sure enough, as you can see here, the market just went ahead, and let's blow this up here, went ahead and just sold off for the whole day. So just noting some of the things I did here, as we were selling off, I thought that this first roadmap level here, especially because we had a lot of resistance right around there at 61.18, would be a great long to see if we would get the pop into VWAP. Didn't work. So I got stopped out, and then I said, okay, why am I fighting my own bias? We're obviously selling off. It's obviously strong. And I flipped the cards on them, and I shorted right off 61.18. So I got stopped out here, and then I entered here and then got a beautiful trade. And look at what happened. Right down to the first roadmap level for the bounce, right? And that's why I tell you guys, if you're short and we're coming into roadmap level, take profit in case you do get a bounce right back to your entry. So then you can see some parries. And interestingly enough, that first support was the roadmap level, right? Hold, hold. And then you can see here where I got in 2 accounts. I shorted it off 61.05 half. We know 05 half is that real move of a level that has held so many times in the past. So when I shorted it, not only did I have confidence in the level, but I had my divergence setting up here, and then we went ahead and chugged down to lower prices. So I had some pretty decent trades on Friday of last week, taking that one stop out and then getting 2 decent trades, and then I think that was it for me. Now you can see all the notable rotations here. Bam, right off 61.05 half. Bam, right around 60.94, and then comes down right to that 60.88 half area. Bounces from there and rejects right off 05 half. There's 05 half again. And then they come down and hold the back end of 89 there, which was the support for the continuation to much lower prices. So some really, really good short opportunities on Friday. As you can see, again, just some incredible rotations on the way down. Some good opportunities. I mean, this is kind of your textbook rejection with huge divergence right off the 200 there. I mean, you're talking about, what, a point of risk, and you got this whole push down right to the next roadmap level with the bounce, and then we even reject to the tick right off 63 there, and keep on going all the way down. And then I believe at some point here, we started to peter out. So they came down and almost got right to the next major roadmap level at 23. And then this is now coming into this week. So you can see, guys, just some unbelievable opportunities on Friday of last week. I did want to, again, just note that before the market opened, we had all the clues for the pullback. And so that's exactly what we got. And now that brings us over here into this week. And there's one other thing I want to mention. looking at the confluence of those 3 or 4 time frames that I just talked about. So let's go ahead and kind of zoom forward here. You can see here, this is Sunday's Globex session coming into the beginning of this week. We had a nice push right to the roadmap level here. In fact, if you were here on Sunday's Globex session, you got a beautiful peek into the level with the divergence there. Yep, divergence from the previous swing, and got that pullback there. So a really good opportunity last, at least on Sunday's Globex there. And then a beautiful parry here coming into Monday morning. So again, if you guys were here in the pre-market on Monday, hold the holy orange power level with a nice bullish divergence here. Hello, my friends. You just got a beautiful scalp before the market opened, right to the next roadmap level where they got a rejection with bearish divergence for that pullback there. So some really good opportunities coming into the beginning of this week. And then you can see here is yesterday's market. So I'll just quickly jump through this so we can get to our pre-market planning for this morning. But you can see once again on Monday of this week, yesterday, a really, really aggressive sell-off on the sell-off there. You can see there's that first opportunity of the day where we come, well, I should say the best opportunity of the morning. We did come up into the back end of the Hopal, the VWAP, the swing from the morning that I just talked about. So that probably would have been a good try, but they peaked through by 3-4 points before it went in the direction. So that probably would have been the best opportunity right out of the open, but it was a stop out for me at least. And then right here, as the bears started to really show their face, get down through the first support, they use it as resistance with a big bearish divergence for the sell-off. So if you nailed that, you nailed basically the high of the morning and got the whole sell-off. And then we got a nice, healthy little bounce here, but this is now leading into the second thing I wanted to talk about, and that is why we expected the market to pull back from this area right here. So as the market was selling off yesterday, again, this is kind of the lesson for yesterday, trying to kind of package both of them in here since I wasn't here yesterday to do our review for Friday. But as we came up into this swing right here, where again, there's our roadmap level, 60.23, which we did have bearish divergence on that test. If you got it, you got the pullback, but that's not the point of this here. So as the market retraced the sell-off of the morning, we're coming right up into 60.23. So what was sitting right there around 60.23? I might have to go ahead and pull up a higher time frame here so we can see. And scroll back to yesterday. So here's the market bouncing out from the low of yesterday. Let me just make sure I am looking at the right stuff here. Pretty sure. Give me a second. Yeah, so the 24th. So we're coming up. There's this. I think I'm losing my place here. So 1300. Let's go over here. Excuse me, I was at the wrong spot. So right around 1 o'clock, I want to talk about why this big sell-off here. Remember, yesterday we had a pretty strong bullish bounce right around the morning there, and it led to this nice retracement of the sell-off. And then we came right to 60.45, our next major roadmap level, 60.46, and we sold off. And I wanted to talk about why, if I was here with you guys yesterday, narrating what was going on, why I would have expected a deep pullback from that area. So again, it was one of those situations where we had a confluence of the 3, the 15, and the 30 from that area. I don't know if there was an hourly, which is not that important, but we're going to jump back here and take a look at yesterday, 60.23. And again, just the 3-minute alone, as we pushed right into 60, I'm sorry, I keep mixing this up, 60.46, we started to get our first bearish clues from the highs. In fact, the first test where we kissed it to the tick was a divergence, and then when they peaked through with that slightly higher high, that's what my 3-minute was looking like as we were testing right into that swing from earlier in the morning there, and that began the sell-off. Now, It's not just the 3-minute here. We also had the 15-minute as market was pushing right up into there, looking like this. Okay, so again, 15-minute, let's zoom her in. We're pushing all the way back up. There's this little swing, this little structure in the market right here. It happens to be a roadmap level at 46. And as they're pushing into 46 right here, look at that huge divergence from the previous swing. We've pushed much lower in price. RVI pushed much higher, and we're rejecting, or we're testing right into the 60 line. Right? So that was the very, very pattern I saw here on my 15-minute chart, which was agreeing with that 3-minute bearish setup up off the high. Right? You can see it, that both swing highs here, beautiful divergence. And then finally on the 30-minute chart, if I can find that, you get the idea. But the 30-minute chart, if I could pull that up here, also had a very, very clear setup from that swing. Now I want to show you, this is the 30-minute, and look at how extreme that divergence was as we were pushing up into that 46 level. There's that little swing structure we looked at. There's our roadmap level at 60.46. And again, let's see if we can pull this all the way in. As we're coming right into 46, again, a level that on its own makes sense for resistance, we've got this big bearish divergence on the 30-minute, which agreed with this structure here on the 15-minute. Look at that big divergence. And then again, locally on the 3-minute, we had the divergence on that second swing high there. All right, big bearish divergence. And then for the rest of the day there, we got this pretty nice sell-off all the way back to the low of the day. So on the way down there, just to kind of show you here, that, my friends, is that beautiful tag of the VWAP as we're selling off with a big bearish divergence on the 3-minute. And so if you were looking for some short opportunities yesterday from 46 as it made its way down there, again, the push up into the VWAP there was showing bearishness on the 3-minute chart. And you had that divergence there right off the previous daily close, just 2 ticks in front of VWAP. So there was an opportunity to get short there. But if you missed that, or if you wanted to get in earlier from 46, that right there was probably the best trade of the afternoon. When they came all the way back to the 200 moving average, it was basically a 38% retracement of the sell-off from that afternoon high. There was a nice local bearish divergence from that second little swing right there. You see that huge divergence off that second swing high. And again, if you got in there, or again off the back end of VWAP, which was again just a tick or two in front, you basically captured the whole sell-off. And again, if you missed those 2 opportunities, here are 3 other beautiful opportunities here. Right here, bearish divergence. Right here, even more bearish divergence at the double top and the major resistance. How much did it go through the 200 there? Just a couple of ticks. And then if you missed that one, well, my friends, there's the kiss to the tick with bearish divergence off of the roadmap level at 23. Again, just a tick from the 200 moving average. So some really good opportunities yesterday to jump in on the short train. And that brings us here now into our current open. So I'm going to have to speed it up because I spent a lot of time with that. But that is basically it, my friends. A really, really messy Globex session last night, but still some really, really discrete holds off previous daily close. Back end of the VWAP there, back end of the 200, and some support right around 59.85. And what do you know? The low of the overnight session to the tick right into 59.77.75. So that wraps it up. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames, even though we only have about a minute here before the market opens.